So we are back again. Arsenal taking on Manchester United this Sunday in the Premier League. They call it the social media derby for a reason. I mean, whichever team loses is just going to get absolutely abused on Twitter. But before we get into it any further, we have a very special guest today. Barry, how you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Thanks for having me on. Look forward to it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I always look for this fixture whenever the fixtures come out. This is the one that pops up to my head along with Spurs. It's just because Arsenal and United fans are so active on Twitter and all these apps.
Oh,
It's a pain. It's painful to lose these games because you know you're just gonna hear it nonstop. It's one of those ones. If you lose, you're off social media for a couple of days to
I am
recover
worried.
because you can't
I,
really.
I am worried, especially with
Mm,
United playing
yeah,
away from home. It's a big challenge for us, especially with our current form. It's not looking good. I feel like you guys are coming into this with a little bit more of an advantage as well, but we'll get into that obviously.
yeah. No, I
I'm gonna
mean,
say
let's
safety
talk
more.
about that because United obviously they've picked up some injuries. Their squad is looking a bit weaker. Obviously they've got is it no Varane, no Luke Shaw. Malassi
Varane,
is also
Shaw.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's it's
So
it's
I mean,
stressful. It is stressful.
yeah, it's not looking good in that sense. And also, like you said, you're away form, I believe, to certainly the big. Was it the top nine sides last season you failed to
Yeah,
beat when you came there?
especially like how we're playing at home as well. Like, say we want Old Trafford's a fortress, we should not be making meals out of teams like Wolves and Nottingham Forest. That was a joke.
Mm.
That Forest game, we could have very comfortably lost that. We came back at the end of the day, but most other teams wouldn't. And I think we need to start thinking about what's going on with the squad, especially with some of our new transfers. Mason Mount, is he fitting in well? I don't think he is personally. I think we're struggling. I think especially bringing in a new striker and we'd not be able to play him. Hoyland, obviously due to injury, it's a struggle. And I think we're going to play away, and I think it's going to be a humbling experience for us. We'll be very lucky to win away. I think anyway. Even coming from a United fan, we're going to struggle.
Do you think though when you say like it's you've not been playing well, do you think that's a case of do you think that's a case of necessarily just like the squad itself? Do you think that, or do you think that's more like the system and the tactics it's not working, or what?
The players themselves, the work rate's still there. I think when you look at your players like Bruno, you look at your Casemiro, and even Rashford. Rashford's not playing as well as he was at the back end of last season, but he's still putting a shift in. I think it's trying to integrate these new players and injuries. So I think bringing Mount in, it's our flow just isn't there. Like if you look towards the end of last season again, it was amazing, especially with injuries now with the back four. You got Luke Shaw injured for I think it's 2 months, and you brought Onana in. I think Onana's a brilliant transfer, but he just needs the correct players around him. And right now, that's what we're struggling with.
Yeah, I mean, like I'll be totally honest. I've looked at United and I don't really I don't really like what Ten Hag's doing in terms of the way he's into using some of your players. Like for example, the fullbacks going to midfield. You've got Casemiro often isolated on his own. Then you've got sort of Mason Mount. You can ask the question, what is his role in the team? Because it's very similar to Kai Havertz with us. We're trying to integrate him into the team, but it's not really working. It's not clicking. You can ask, what is his role in the team? Is he occupying a free role? What? Because he's not really getting into the game much. Same with Havertz,
It,
obviously. And then I don't know, your attack as well. It's not firing. It's not looking. It's not flowing. It's the same with us.
that was the issue we had last season as well. Like if you look at Anthony on the ball, he's amazing. Obviously, he can make his jokes. He's 100 million euros as a fidget spinner. Fair enough. He drives the ball up, but when he gets up with the ball, he's not doing much. That's always been the issue with Anthony, and especially like with that striker position. It is vacant. Like you can say, oh, you can slap whoever you want there. As of right now, we are missing a solid starter striker. Of course, we are. On the left, obviously, you're looking at Rashford. Rashford does not play well in the striker position. He doesn't. He doesn't. And you can say that's up for debate. I don't think it is. He's a winger. Through and through, he's a winger. And he plays well on the wing. But when he doesn't, the team suffers for it because he is our goal scoring man.
Yeah, I've looked at Rashford and I think on his day, great player. But I think where his inconsistency comes from is often who he's playing with, who the team around him. Because if you put that man in a good team, good foundation around him, he'll thrive. And because he's certainly got the ability. But when you've got you've got, like you said, Anthony on the right is not really doing much. Your midfield's looking a bit weak. Your whole team needs to be gelling for a player like Rashford or even a player like Anthony, who I believe he does have the ability. It's just I don't know. It's just something's not clicking.
Something's not clicking. That's the issue. And like going back to what you were just saying, we have these unreal players because in our squad we do have some unreal players. Like I don't think Wan-Bissaka gets talked about enough. Personally, I love him. I think he's unreal. I think he's arguably one of our best in our back four. And you look at your Casemiro's, you look at your Bruno on his day, and your Rashford, and you compare to obviously who we've got around him. Obviously, Varane injury, Luke Shaw injury. It's not helping the flow of the team. And I think with United, if it doesn't flow, we get stuck. And when we get stuck, nothing happens. That's when we start making meals of games like Nottingham Forest and Wolves. Or even last season, Spurs. If you said we would lose 2-0 to Spurs, it's annoying because you can see that the squad has the ability. The ability is there within the squad, but it's little things that we need to change. And obviously, it's going to be up to Ten Hag in the next coming games to fix that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think in a weird way, our clubs are experiencing very similar issues right now. I think same thing with us, right? We've signed Havertz, big sign, and we signed Declan Rice, big sign, and obviously Timber injured as well, unfortunate.
Yeah.
But almost seems like we're changing slightly little things in order to fit these players in, but it's not clicking, it's not really working. So the obvious answer is, well, why don't you just go back to the system you played last season and integrate these players into that? Obviously, with Havertz, it's a whole different case. It's a case of we just don't rate him at all. We just don't see him as a signing working. It's not even necessarily to do with the system. But obviously, Arteta's come in. He's shoehorning Havertz into the team, which is personally what I think. He's changed players' position, Partey at right back. We've dropped Gabriel, and it's just not flowing. So it's a question of do you change the players or do you change the system? I think, in my view, I think it's the system that's the issue. You don't, like they say, you don't fix something that's not broke.
Like I was saying previously, like playing Rashford at striker, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, and the comparison between Mount and Havertz, it's a great comparison. Like if you look at what they've done between now and when they've been brought in, what have they done? What have they done? And the money these players are obviously asking for and they're getting brought in for, they should be banging one in every game. And for me personally, you'll probably agree with Havertz. Mount has done a bit harsh. He's done nothing. He's done nothing. It's stressful to watch him.
It's not. You don't even. It's not even a case of he's done nothing with Havertz. He's just everything's done being shit. Like genuinely being. I don't know if you saw it. There was a pass where Martinelli passed the ball to him. You'd expect him to play. He knocks it out of play.
Yeah.
I don't. Honestly, I genuinely think Alex Simpson could play a better pass than that. I don't understand.
It's getting to the point where it's like these players. It's stressful to watch them. Like I don't know. Obviously, I'll bring it back to Mason Mount. I was skeptical at first, and I'm still yet to be proven wrong because for me personally, what has he done? It's getting to the point where we need to start looking at maybe the system we have in play at the moment doesn't work. But then there's the other issue is it's deadline day. We've got what is it at time of recording? We've got what 11 hours left till the end of the deadline. I don't know. I think we have the players there. Yeah, we have the players there to cook summit, but whether we ever get started doing that will be up to Ten Hag's system.
Even us, like we've lost Timber. We've made essentially we've got two new signings in. Sold Tierney, which I cannot. I cannot get how annoyed I am about that, especially considering we've got the Champions League and all that. And it doesn't look like we're going to make any more signings. So now we've got what we've got. We've got Havertz and Declan Rice. Declan Rice for me starts in that number 8 position, no doubt about it. Havertz for me, I don't see him fitting into our. If I'm looking at our best team with our best system and all that, I don't see Havertz fitting into the team. And I know Arteta's he'll be stubborn because he's paid 65 million for that player, so he doesn't want to not use him. And I think that's where Arteta he'll die on that hill. He'll fall on that
Oh yeah,
sword, the
same as
Havertz
Ten Hag.
sword.
They're very similar. Like I
Yeah,
always like to use the excuse. So like when people were giving Anthony shit for being shit last season, I always like to use the excuse a player should be given a season to get used to Premier League football. But then you look at Mason Mount and Havertz. What's the excuse? You're not new to this. You're not new to playing this high level football. Like it's I don't know. Like I don't see an excuse to be underperforming, especially Mason Mount. I don't know whether you agree with me on that, but
yeah, no. I think it's not even you can't even look at it and say, oh, they've come in for big money and they should be performing. Regardless of the price they've come in for, you'd expect them, especially for teams like Arsenal and Man United, who you look at, who we view right now as wanting to take them to the next level,
oh yeah,
titles, competing in Europe and all that. You look at these two signings and think they're not really of the level we'd want them to be at where we're trying to go. And I think that's the big issue.
the thing is, with United fans as well. Like we all just go back to the same excuse. Oh, it's the Glazers, the Glazers. There's only one transfer that we didn't get this season that we wanted desperately, and it was Harry Kane. Fair enough, we didn't get him at the end of the day, but we got Højlund in. Maybe he was second choice, but we've got him. And then you look at these other transfers. You got Mount, bringing Mount in. We got Onana. How De Gea left the club, I wasn't too happy about. But these are replacements that the fans have wanted. So now it's up to Ten Hag to perform. He needs to start bringing these results in. He needs to start bringing them in a way that we're getting these confident wins. And so far, we're going into game week 4 now. It's going to be yet again another challenge.
Hmm. I mean, for this game in particular, I do think the only reason that I would back an Arsenal win is home advantage. That's the only reason because I think in terms of R2, I don't see us being much better than you at the moment. I see us in similar issues where look, we both went 1-0 down in the first minute in our last game against Fulham and Nottingham Forest. I see us with trying to move forward. We've brought in some players, some two signings in particular, Mount Havertz, who aren't working. There's a bit of stubbornness from the managers. Tactics don't seem to be working. So I see us right now. I see us on a very similar level in terms of how we are. It's just the difference is obviously we're at home for this game, so I do think we'll win. But I think generally, if Arteta doesn't, sure, because one thing I don't understand in football, right? And maybe this is just a case of Arteta knows more than everyone else. But if all of our fans pretty much are recognizing it, saying this Havertz system is not working, we need to change the old system, and Arteta goes no, and he keeps it, and it doesn't work. What is he not seeing? That's
In
what
his mind,
annoys
he
me a
might have
lot.
a deadline for when that needs to work, though. So obviously, like if you look at it, yeah, we are only going into game week 4, but where do you draw the line? Because right now, it's going to get to the point for both of our clubs where we're going to start throwing these points that we need to be competing for top 4. We need to be, and if we start making issues like you were saying of Fulham, and we're struggling against teams like Wolves, where do you draw the line? What month, like November? Do we say in November, right, these transfers aren't working? Or do we do it earlier? And maybe it is a case of, yeah, have faith in the system. But as of right now, perception's changing. And I don't think the fans are happy at either clubs with how things are working.
Major issue is that with R2, we finished second last season. So technically, right, and people will be like, it's harsh and all that, but just being in the top 4 race this season, there's no progress. There's no if anything, if anything, it's recession because last season we were still competing for the league. So for this season, for us to not be doing the same, the way I see it, and it's like the way I see it is, why take two steps backwards to take 4 steps forward when you can just take 2 steps forward? And that seems what our two teams are seeming to be doing with these Mount Havertz signing. It's taken us a couple steps backwards. We don't look the same team. All for it
Last
to
season, you guys were flying as well.
We were flying. We looked in our first 5 games. We looked unreal. Even when we lost to Man United, we still looked all right. Like we lost you scored goals on the counter, but we looked good. We looked like we were playing flowing football. I just don't really. I'm not really seeing that. I've not seen that. The pre-season's not been the same, and it's worrying because we as fans would expect us to go to that next level now to compete for
It
the
was
league
annoying
again.
as well, especially for
Yeah,
United. Like our first goal of the season, it was two defenders. It's our two defenders. We got an assistant defender and Varane. Varane who knocked it in at the end. So you're looking at this and you're like, that's great, but why is it that we're relying on our back four to be scoring when you've got these people? You've got Mount, you've got Rashford, and you've got Anthony. And as a United fan, you've got to be looking at like, obviously, like I know we're bashing Mount and I know we're bashing Havertz, but like these guys need to start showing up because it's getting painful to watch.
yeah, 100%. Let's talk about the Champions League groups. Obviously, I'll share the groups now.
I will ask, are you happy with your group?
You know what? Yeah, it's an interesting one because like our group, our group is favorable. It is a group you'd look at and go, um, there are the groups. We've got Sevilla, who I think will be tough, but I think we'll beat them at home. I think away will be very tough. PSV is a bit
Away
boring. PSV is a bit boring. We had them last season. We lost away to them. And then with Lens, I don't really know what to expect, but it's a bit of a boring group. I know it's one of the more favourable ones, but I kind of would have wanted a proper big team in there just to like have that experience of playing them. But I guess we'll get that in the next round if we make it. United's group bit more tough. You've got Bayern Munich, which is actually a lot of Arsenal fans were saying, "Oh, I beg we don't get Bayern." I wouldn't have minded if we got them. You've got Bayern Munich, you've got Copenhagen, and you've got Galatasaray.
I would have taken Bayern over Sevilla because we don't beat Sevilla. We don't beat them. For some reason, like we were saying before we started, these guys play arse in the league, and then for tournaments, they're like, yeah, we're just going to drop a masterclass, and every time they just batter United. I don't know why it is. Even at home, like we were winning, and then final 10 minutes last season, we conceded two, and then going into that away day, obviously we had no goal advantage, and we suffered for it. We lost 3-0.
Yeah, mental. Obviously, like I don't see us. Some people were talking about Arsenal being like third favourites, and I think that's bullshit. I don't see us, especially with how we're looking now, to have the expectation of doing well in the league and the Champions League. I don't see us doing well in this competition. I think we'll get out of the group, and I think if we get a Bayern Munich, a Barca, any big team in the round of 16, I think we'll go out. I don't know how you feel about United.
Round of 16, I think we'll get through groups. Round of 16, obviously it depends who we get, but I don't know. I think being back in the Champions League, it comes with an expectation that we need to get out of the round of 16. But in our current form, whether that's a realistic expectation, obviously we'll find out. We've got a while to go. We've got a few weeks, see how we perform. But it's going to be a struggle. I think there's a lot of delusional United fans that I think, oh, we're going to fly, we're going to get into the finals. But if you look at our current form, it's not looking good. It's not looking good.
Yes, it's not really looking good. What would be your going back to the game on Sunday? What would be if you were the manager? How would you line up?
Defensive wise, it's obviously we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle. Obviously, we've got Onana. We'll take Onana. With the Shaw injury, we'll bring in that new transfer. What was it? It wasn't fine. We brought in that new guy. His name's escaping me, but brought in a new left back. So obviously we'll get him in. A lot of talk whether Maguire's going to play. I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, I don't like bashing Maguire. I really don't. But it gets to the point where he was actively trying to escape the club. Obviously, whether West Ham are going to take him or not. I think we might have to play him.
Can you blame him?
No, especially because like Man United fans are harsh. Like look how De Gea left the club. That was disgusting, especially for how long he'd been there. It's not looking good really. Back four, I really couldn't tell you. Whatever Ten Hag brings to the table with it, he's gonna struggle. Like, it was always gonna be a struggle. Varane injury, Luke Shaw injury, it's gonna be an issue. Midfield, I don't know. It's another thing. Obviously, you'll have your Casemiro, you'll have your Bruno, but Fred's gone, so Mount's gonna play, and with Mount playing again, it's just a big struggle. I think you can go around the entire team and say, obviously, like these positions are weak, these positions are weak, especially with injuries. But like, there's no point.
Talks of Amrabat, you think we'll get him in?
If he gets in, I hope to God he plays well, because it's getting to the point where United been horrible at transfer for years. Obviously, like we brought Ronaldo in, and then it was possibly the worst ending to like a player that big. Like I don't know what happened. Obviously, you can look at what he said about the club, but we're bringing in these massive players, at least we used to be, and they just don't perform. And that's a big issue with United. These transfers aren't working.
Yeah. And then who would you go in the attack?
Well, you have to go Sancho. Obviously, I was saying
there's talks Højlund could be fit. If he's fit, are you starting him?
It's Ten Hag. Ten Hag, he just loves the idea of if you are not 100% fitness, you're not playing. So I won't put any money on Højlund starting. So obviously you have to look at like you players like your Sancho, Rashford, and Antony. I can imagine that's the way he might have to go with it. But as we were saying before, I don't like Rashford in striker, and many of our fans don't.
Yeah, I don't blame you. He's been. I think. Well, to be honest, with this lineup, I think every single Arsenal fan will agree with me on this lineup. Maybe bar the striker position, but that's just because there's like 3 good options you could have. So in goal, I'm gonna go Aaron Ramsdale. I think there's been talks of David Raya and all that. He should be replaced by Raya and all that. I'd give him a few more games. I don't necessarily think
slipped up
he's been
bad.
bad.
A similar thing.
He did, but I don't know. I feel like by just taking him out of the side, what's that going to do to him? It's just going to make it 100 times worse. So I would keep Ramsdale in goal.
Yeah.
I would go Ben White right back. That's another thing with me. He was one of the best right backs in the league last season, and we've put him at centre back where I don't think he was very good the season before. At centre back, I think his best position is right back, and then centre backs Saliba, Gabriel. How Gabriel's not been featuring this season is a joke. He was our best centre back.
He's ruining my FPL. He's ruining my FPL. I brought him in like, bro, he's great. He doesn't play. He doesn't play.
He was our best centre back, one of the best centre back pairings in the league last season, and you've just separated them. Like, I don't understand it. I would go Zinchenko at left back again.
Yeah.
Why? I know he's had other reasons as he's not played. He's not really been around, but he's been on our bench in every single game. Why has he not been starting? Midfield, centre defensive midfield, Thomas Partey, no doubt for me. Moving back into the midfield, please. No more right back bullshit. It's not working. Left centre mid, Declan Rice. People talk about, can Declan Rice play in the Xhaka role and all that? He was one of the best progressive ball carriers in the league last season. He's got great stats for all that stuff. Why not play him in a position?
Transfer for you guys. I honestly do. Especially compared to Havertz.
He's not even been bad. He's not even been bad in these 3 games. He's been one of our better players. And then attacking midfield, on the right side of the 3, I would go Odegaard. Obviously, there's not really any. Smith Rowe is finished at this football club. Fabio Vieira did very well in the last game. Odegaard goes in that position for me. Front 3, left wing Martinelli, right wing Saka. I don't even need to explain that. And then striker. This is probably the hardest position. I think every other position that I've listed, 90% of Arsenal fans will have that exact, because we can all see it's not rocket science. We can all see what was working and what wasn't, and that was the system that was working. And up front, I think I'll go. I'm gonna go in Nketiah, because
No, I agree.
he's
I agree.
he's been our best player. He's been our best player. He's been our best player. Why drop him? Um, for me, if we play that lineup, we should beat you comfortably. Not even being disrespectful to Man United.
No, bro. When you look at the current state of the United squad, like we're getting battered by Spurs, Nottingham Forest gives us the runabout, Wolves even putting a fight up against us is embarrassing. Come to this match on the weekend, we are going to struggle. I think the fact we're not at home as well. If we're at Old Trafford, I'd say yeah, we'd probably find our way back. We'll probably go like 2-0 down the first half, then find a way back like we have done before. But looking at the current state of our squads, I'm hoping for a draw. I really don't want to lose. I really don't want to lose against you, just because, like we said before,
if we play this stupid system, if we play that stupid system, it will be a tight game. It will be way tighter than it should be, and I think it could go either way. I don't know. The only reason I just think we'll win this game is because it's at home, and I don't think you're great going to these big games away. I don't know if it's a mentality thing or what. But before we wrap the video up, score prediction. Go.
I'm hoping for a draw, so I'm going to say 1-1. But in the perfect world, we get you 2-1. But we'll see.
Fair enough. I mean, right. My heart is saying 2-1 to us. But my head's saying Arteta's gonna go with Havertz, and it could be a 2-2 draw. I think if he goes with Havertz, I think we'll draw.
I think if Højlund starts, I think, to be honest, like I think we deserve to have a debut of someone just popping off. I think we're overdue it. I think he has the potential. We'll see. If Højlund starts and we have to get Rashford on the left instead of striker, I think that's why I back us to win 2-1.
Fair enough. Listen, Barry, it's been great having you on. Any socials? Any socials you wanna drop?
Instagram, Charlie J Barry. Other than that, thanks for having me on, bro. Appreciate it.
No, it's been good. I'm excited for this game. I don't know where I'm gonna watch it because they don't really have football games on here, so I'll probably just have to use Twitter or something. But we'll be back for the match review probably on Sunday. I mean,
I can
look out for that.
Sunday, yeah,
look out for that. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the thing, and we'll be back soon. Take care.